Okay. Yeah, guys. Requirement is now we want to know about how to write the JPQL queries. Okay. So now we are moving on. We will understand about writing different examples. Let's continue with example 4. So in the previous session, where we have discussed about writing some queries. Correct. We have written some queries now. So we'll continue further to discuss about other queries. So when you are writing any when you are writing any JPQL query, JPQL queries looks like SQL queries only. But one thing I can tell you now, in a JPQL query, we can use index parameters, and even we can also make use of named parameters. So let's see how we can write the query. What I'm trying to say now, we can make use of index parameters, or even we can also make use of named parameters. So let's have a discussion. Okay, I will tell you now. Yeah, guys. So now, yeah, we'll go ahead, guys. We'll go ahead. See here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Right, guys. We'll move on now. I'll tell you. See here, guys. What I'm writing, I can able to write. Say, for example, I have an SQL query like this now. My SQL query is, say, for example, select same star from EMP, where any condition we can write. Okay, where, for example, DEPTNO equal to question mark and sal greater than question mark. For example, this type of query I want to write. This is basically called what SQL query. But now I want to write the same query as what a JPQL query. Let us see how I can able to write a JPQL query. So there is a JPQL query like this now. So my JPQL query is what here, select. I'll tell you, select E from employee E, right? For example, employee is an entity class. So you see in the previous examples, I took employee entity, right? So for example, entity class name is employee entity. Then how can I able to write this? I can able to write, I can able to write select E from employee entity E, okay? Select E from employee entity E, where E dot say DEPT number equal to question mark 1, right? And E dot salary greater than question mark 2. Just the query, JPQL query looks like what? SQL query, but there is a difference. You know this already, right? How we can write the JPQL queries, we know. Today, what I am writing, or okay, you know, this query is selecting all attributes now. Select a star in the sense what? All attributes, right? If any query selects all attributes I mean all columns of the record, right? That's called all attributes. If a query is selecting all attributes, what can I do? I can directly start my, I can start my query with from keyword now. So what is the next query? From employee entity E, where E dot DEPT number equals to question mark 1 and E dot salary greater than question mark 2, right? Or one more time I'm writing or. So the next one is a new query. Let me explain what is a new query I'm explaining you. The same query, even I can able to write like this also, guys. What is a way of writing this? I can write something from what? Employee entity E, where E dot DEPT number equals to colon DNO and E dot salary greater than colon ESAL. So this is the new query. Here, these two, observe. Earlier I used question mark 1 and question mark 2. Now I can tell you this question mark 1 and question mark 2, these are called as index parameters. I repeat, guys. These are called as what? Index parameters. These are called index parameters. So please understand, these are called index parameters. Who and what are index parameters? Question mark 1 and question mark 2, both are called as index parameters. This question mark 1 and what? This question mark 2, both are called as what? Index parameters. Both are called as index parameters. Right. I'm just calling them as index parameters. Okay, guys. Now next I'm telling you guys, this colon DNO and this colon ESAL, starting with colon symbol, observe it, colon is there. So these are called as named parameters. These are called as named parameters. So we can able to write like this also. These are called as what? Named parameters. Okay. So basically what we can do now? We can write either index parameters or even we can write named parameters when we are writing our query. Okay. We have two options. We can go with index parameters or we can go with the named parameters also. But in SQL query, whereas in SQL query, you don't have any named parameters. So you can only write what? Index parameters. Index parameter means it starts with question mark. Right. That's a new one is you can able to use named parameters also. Now, let us see now. Similarly, if I wanted update query, or if I wanted a delete query, or if I wanted insert query, right, in the same way. In the same way, we can write all the queries now. I can write index query, I can write update query, or even I can write delete query. For example, I'm writing now. My next query is select. My next SQL query. What's my query? Insert, or otherwise, let's say update. Update EMP. Set sal equal to question mark, where DEPT equal to question mark. Okay. Now you write. Okay. Now you write JPQL query for this. Please write JPQL query for this, guys. This is example 5. I want to write this as example 5. Can you tell me what is the JPQL query? I want to write a JPQL query for this. Please write the JPQL query for this. Please write a JPQL query for this. Okay, now please write a JPQL query for this. Okay, please write JPQL query for this. Okay, guys, please write JPQL query for this. Yeah, I'm asking you guys, please write JPQL query for this. How do you write a JPQL? How do you write the JPQL query for this? Update employee entity E set E dot salary equal to what? Question mark 1, where E dot DEPT number equal to question mark 2. Is it right? Or another way of writing the same query? Or the other way of writing the same query? Update employee entity E set. What can I write, guys? Set E dot salary equal to colon E sal or any other variable. This is called named parameter, where E dot DEPT number equal to colon DNO. Got it right? So understand it now. We can able to write a query like this also. We can also write the query in this way. Guys, what are this colon E sal and what is this colon DNO? This colon DNO and colon E sal are called named parameters. We can write named parameters also. What about the name of the parameter? Name of the parameter can be your choice. I mean, you can write E sal, you can write DNO, or you can write P1 and P2, or X1 and X2. So your name is not an important one. Meaningful name is a better one. That's it. I'm writing E sal, that is employee salary, DNO representing department number. Otherwise, you can write what? Colon X1, colon X2. X1 and X2 are called named parameters. So you can go for what? You can write what? Either index parameters or you can write what? Named parameters. You are able to get my point? Okay, got the concept clearly? Excellent. So we have JPQL query, SQL query and JPQL query, both. This is example 5. Like this, you can write update query. Now next we can write delete query. Next we can write insert query. So your choice now. You can write all the queries now. What queries you can write here? Update query you can write, insert query you can write, delete query you can write, all the queries we can write. And select query already we have discussed. Okay. JPQL queries are looking like what? SQL queries only. We are not having any problem here. We don't have any much problem in writing the JPQL query. If it is a join query also, process will be same. Suppose you wanted a join query. I want to fetch the employee name and department name. Employee name is in EMP table. Department name in DEPT table. The two different tables are there, right? Department table is the parent table. Employee table is a child table. You have two entity classes. You have two entity classes. One is employee entity class. Another one is department entity class. Now I want to fetch employee name and is a department name. Okay, then I should write join query now, because parent table, child table, primary key and foreign key relationship, right? So how to fetch the data using foreign key? How can you fetch the data from two tables using foreign key? By writing join query. Whenever you want to fetch the data from multiple tables with a single query, then you have to write Join query only, na? Right? So let's see. Example 6 I am writing. First of all, tell me what's the SQL query. I want SQL query to fetch employee name and department name. I will wait for your query. Type in the chat box. Please type it in the chat box. I'll wait for your query. Yeah, guys, observe here. Observe here. I'm asking about what SQL query that I want to fetch employee name and department name. Employee name is in EMP table. Department name is in DEPT table. Right. By writing join query, we can get the data. See, select E.E name, comma, D.D name. From EMPE, join DEPT on E.DEPT is a foreign key equal to D.DEPT is a primary key. This is a query, guys. This is called join query. By default, it is called inner join. Okay, but now I want to write the same query in JPQL. Then how can I write it? Assume that I have two entity classes. Okay, assume that I have how many entity classes? Two entity classes are there with me. I have two entity classes with me, right? One is employee entity. Second one is a department entity. Suppose two entity classes are there. Employee entity class is mapped with EMP table. Department entity class is mapped with what? DEPT table. Now I wanted a join query based on that. How can I write it? Select, guys, select E.EMP name, comma, D.DEPT name from employee entity E. Observe it. Sir, please understand. Employee entity E, join department entity D. D on E.DEPT number equal to D.DEPT number. Guys, the query looks like this. The query looks like this. Okay. So what are the two entity classes here? One is the employee entity. Second one is the department entity, right? I'm getting the query like this. I'm getting the query like this. This is called what query? JPQL query. Yes, we can write like this. Let's go ahead. Now our next question is, okay, like this we can write queries, but our next question is we want to know about how to execute them. how to run the JPQL queries. Okay. Try to understand now. We want to discuss about how to run the JPQL queries. How to run the JPQL queries. Okay. Now let's see. First thing I want to tell you, there are 3 steps now. First step is, okay, there are 3 steps here. First step is you have to create the query object. Query is an interface in JPQL. Okay, in JPA, we have an interface called query interface. First, create a query object. Second step, set the parameter values. Set the parameter values. Third step is execute. Third step is execute. Okay, 3 steps are there for executing the JPQL queries. Step 1, create a query object. If you want to run your JPQL query, first what I need to create? I have to create a query object. So first step is create a query object. That's the first step. Okay. First create the query object. First step. Second step is what? Set the parameter values. Third step is what? Execute. Let's see. First let me write. Create query object. Q capital. Query is an interface. Query is an interface. First create a query object. First step. Second step, guys, what to do? Second step is what? First step is what? To create a query object. Second step is what to do? Set the parameter values. Set the parameter values. Third step is execute it. Third step is execute it. Okay. Let us see with an example. Let us see with an example. Okay. Let us see with an example. Observe here, guys. For example, string. I have a variable called JPQL equal to, just I'm writing like this now. Just I'm writing from employee entity E, where E dot DEPT number equal to question mark 1. Okay. I think you can able to get it now very easily. What's my query, guys? My query is what? From employee entity E, where E dot DEPT number equal to what? Question mark 1. This is my query. Look at this. This is my query. My query is like this now. This is my query. It's my query. Okay, guys. It's my query. This is my query. What I want to do now? Okay, what I want to do now? This is my query. Next, what I want to do now? I want to create the query object. First step is that one only. Na? First one is what? Create a query object. How can I create the query object? Query. Observe it. Query. Q equal to reference or name Q equal to entity manager dot create query is a method. You got it? Huh? What's the method name? Create query is a method. Entity manager dot create query. You know entity manager already? In a JPA, if you want to perform any database operations, we need entity manager object. Entity manager opens a session with database. Session means a connection with the database, right? If you want to insert, if you want to update an entity, if you want to delete an entity, or if you want to select the entity, find the entity, if you want to perform all these operations, you need what? Entity manager, right? So entity manager dot, what's the method name? Create query. And what we need to pass here? JPQL we need to pass now? Yeah, I'm passing what? JPQL. JPQL. My query I'm passing there. Okay. I stored my query into one variable. What's the string variable name? JPQL. I'm passing it. What object is created here? Query object. Step 1 is over. What is step 2? Step 1 is okay. Then step 2 is what? Set the. Tell me how many parameters are there? 1. Observe here. Please understand me. Observe here. What I'm writing here? I'm writing. Okay, I'm writing q dot set parameter of 1 comma 20. Okay, what is 1? What is 20? 1 is the parameter index. Parameter index is 1. First parameter. Okay, 20 is the value. 20 is the value. That's it. Step 1 and step 2 is over. What is step 3? Execute this query object. But now here, first of all, understand here. This query is selecting the data from the DB, means selecting the entities from database, or updating the data in the database. Selecting. Okay. This query is going to select the data from table. Nothing but what it is selecting the entities from database. Okay, right? One entity is nothing but one object. This query selects one entity, or this query selects multiple entities. You are expecting how many? Multiple, na? How can you say multiple? With the department number 20, there can be only one employee in the database, or there can be multiple employees also. Multiple employees also, na? Correct? Multiple employees also, right? Nothing but this query selects what? One entity or multiple entities? Multiple entities, na? Then you have to call a method called get result list. What's the method name? Get result list. Observe here. Please understand. I'm calling the method. This is a way of executing it. List. Understand. List of employee entity. LST equal to q dot get result list. Okay. What's the method I'm calling? Get result list. Okay. This is first example. See, this is called step 1. This is step 1. Right? This is step 2. And basically now you are finding step 3. Okay, what is step 1? Of course, I'm writing. This is step 1. What is step 1? Create a query object. Create a query object. Step 1. What is step 2? Set the parameter value. Step 2. Step 3 is what? Step 3 is what? Execute it. Step 3 is what? Execute it. You got clarity? Yes. What's the method I'm calling here? Get result list. When to call this method get result list? This get result list method. Okay. When to call this get result list method? It returns a single entity from database or multiple entities from database. Okay. Yes. Retrieves or returns more than one entity or simply multiple. Retrieves multiple entities. Okay, multiple entities. Everyone get the concept clearly. Okay. Get result list. Okay, right? So what is the interface I'm talking about? What is the interface name? Query. Let's open this JPA query through Google. javax.persistence.query. Okay, observe it. What's the interface name? Query. Query is an interface. Okay, query interface used to control query execution, right? Very good. Okay, leave about all these things. But which method we are calling? We are calling get result list. Get result list. This method I'm calling. What's the method I'm calling? Get result list method. What it returns? Returns a list of results. Okay. Execute a select query and return the query results as an untyped list. What is the meaning of untyped list means? I'll tell you what is typed query and untyped query. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. In your result, it's only returning list now. Remove list of employee, only list. Everything is same. Everything is same. Just what I'm trying to say is now, just okay, just write list lst equal to q dot get result list. Don't type list of employee entity. This is called untyped list. I'll tell you what's the meaning of untyped list. Okay, don't worry. Next one. There is a method called, you can see in the bottom. What's the one more method? Get result, get single result. What's the method name? Get single result. So when to call, okay, so when to call get a single result method. See, this query is retrieving. See, this query is retrieving one entity or multiple entities? Multiple entities. But if a query returns a single entity, then get single result is a method. So two methods you have to understand here. What are the two methods? One is the, yeah, one is the get a single result. Another one is the get result list. See, for example, let's see one more example. Let me write one more example. Understand the next example as well. Let's see. I have an example like this, guys. Let's see. I have an example like this. My example is, okay, see the example here. What's the example I'm writing? Query q equals to entity manager dot create query. Of this time, I'm writing my query directly from employee entity E. Okay, guys. Got my point? From employee entity E. Okay, please understand me. From employee entity E. Okay, what I'm writing? Where E dot EMP number equal to question mark ENO. It's my query. My question to all of you, this query can select how many entities from the database? This query can select how many? This query can select how many entities from the DB? Huh? How can you say only one? With our condition where employee number, how many employees can exist with the same employee number? With one employee number, only one employee can exist, right? I mean, this query selects how many employees? One employee from the DB, right? So, what's the second step? Q dot set parameter. Tell me now, is it a parameter, is index parameter or the named parameter? Named parameter. What's the name of the parameter? ENO. What is colon then? Colon is a syntax. Colon indicates that this is a named parameter. But what is the name of the parameter? ENO is the name. Colon is a syntax. So colon ENO. But what is the name of the parameter? ENO. Value 7788. Tell me then. Tell me then. With this employee number 7788, how many employees can exist? Only one employee. So how to execute it? Object O equal to, okay, Q dot get single result. Yeah, guys. object O equal to Q dot what? Get single result. So what are the two methods here? One method is get result list. Another method is get single result. When to call get single result method? Call this method what? Whenever you are getting a single record. So basically write the point here. What's the point to write? Retrieves. What? Retrieves multiple entities a single result. Single entity. Retrieves a single entity. Single entity. Okay. Single entity. Okay, right? Now I'll tell you guys. So now currently, which interface we are using? Query. Query interface we are using. Query interface returns untyped results. For example, if I am calling, you can look at this. If I am calling get single result, what this method returns? Get single result method retrieves single entity, means what? Employee entity. But it is returning object. Object O equal to. I have to do typecasting. What I should do? Typecasting. I should do a typecasting now. This O, I need to again cast it to employee entity. Because get a single result method of query interface returns what? Untyped result. Returning object O. But actually, what is the object stored in O? Employee entity object. Am I right or not? As you know that subclass object can be stored in superclass variable. Na? Now tell me O is what? Superclass reference variable. Right? Superclass reference variable. In that reference variable, what is stored? Employee entity object is stored. Employee entity is a subclass of object class. Na? Because we know that in Java, every class is a subclass of object class only. Na? Correct? What is the next step? I have to typecast it. I have to typecast this O into employee entity. How to? Can you tell me the statement how to write that? Employee entity, say entity reference variable equal to target type is employee entity na, within parenthesis employee entity of O. We have to do explicit typecasting. Are you getting my point or not? Right? Why? Because query interface methods returns untyped results. Okay, untyped results. Untyped.